I need for people to think about all this talk about homegrown terrorists and calling black people terrorists and all this hoopla all of a sudden about it. You know, if you're a terrorist, then you can do what you want.
But
You can
anyway,
detain them
I've had people calling me saying they
as long
go
as you
out to
want.
their mailbox and they find a little red dot or a little blue dot on their mailbox, and they wonder what the little red dot, blue dot is. Well, it's marking your mailbox by the government, so when foreign troops come in here on us after martial law, if you have a red dot on your mailbox, they take you out immediately and shoot you right in the head. But if you have a blue dot, they take you to the FEMA camps being built by Halliburton right now to house 50 million Americans. They're building enough concentration camps in America by Halliburton that Cheney's getting rich off of, Vice President Cheney's getting rich off of, to put those with the blue dot on your mailbox in those concentration camps. Now, if you go out and you find a pink dot on your mailbox, that means that they believe you'll be a good slave and you're going to go along with the program and serve.
You already know I'm going to be executed right off top. So there's going to be a lot. They starting with black people. They're going to start with black people. And there, I have heard reports of this. You guys need to definitely research this out west. They've been talking about the last several years. I've seen blips on that. Military people of other countries that are mercenaries or whatever that are over here. And people have had footage and posted footage about that.
Listen to this, folks. I was pulled to the side road, which
Knew about this several years ago.
A new cut gravel dirt road in front of a business, a builder supply business. And the right side of the road was filled with
I don't know what the official report is about these caskets. I think they said something about a natural disaster or something happens, or something like that. I don't know.
It was an odd color.
But
I asked him about.
I've been new about these. A lot of y'all don't pay attention to what y'all need to be paying attention to.
What were they? Because I'd never seen anything like that. And his statement was that if he told me, I would be one of few people in Madison, Georgia that knew about them. And he says they're disposable coffins, I believe he told me. And
this is fact. Research it.
There's 100 at that time. He said there was 125,000 there.
And I just heard reports about the moving some of the
and
coffins.
The brother of the man that owns this
because of the caldera out west, Yellowstone. Since this comet icing has passed, they had moved it because they had some Titanic or whatever activity with that caldera under Yellowstone. So they was moving some of these coffins to Hawaii and stuff like that. So, yeah. What about the bullets?
I mean, that's got to cost millions and millions of dollars. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't this country broke? I mean, you turn on the TV, you hear how we're laying off air traffic controllers, how people are going to die because of it. I mean, Harrison Ford is in a tizzy, and we're spending this much money on bullets? Do you know that 1.6 billion rounds of ammunition is enough to fight a 20-year war and still have bullets left over? My question is, who is the Department of Homeland Security planning to shoot? Do you realize that over the past couple of months, our government has tried to pass bills through Congress
this happened. The bullets, they purchased that, what, last year?
And
that's a fact. Y'all pay attention. Y'all need to pay attention to shit.
And it talks about barricades and barbed wire and armed guards.
They've been purchasing bullets.
It says that they built the camps and that now they need to get ready to staff them. And that they need to be ready within a 72-hour period. And so I want to challenge everybody to call their friends and their families now and realize that the new economy is to put tens of millions of people, we already have the biggest prison population in the world, in this archipelago, this this giant
They've been doing
chain
dry runs in small
of
towns
facilities
across the
all
country
over the country.
of how they gonna go house to house. They did it down south somewhere, and the mayor didn't want them there, or something. There was some complication with the mayor. This was like either 2015 or 2014.
Joyce E. Morrow, Administrative Assistant to the Secretary of the Army. It was created in 2010, however, it's just been recently leaked to the public via the internet and can now be downloaded from multiple sources. In the description below, you'll find a download link for the document. I strongly encourage you to download it yourself and to verify everything that's being said here. The document outlines military procedures for internment and resettlement of civilians, and it describes the layout and the administration of these internment camps. It clearly states on page 38 that it applies within U.S. territory, and it specifically addresses the detainment of U.S. citizens, as is indicated by the identification procedures for new prisoners on page 146, which states that social security numbers are to be recorded alongside their photograph and fingerprints. Included in the list of organizations which may be involved in these internment operations are the Department of Homeland Security, FEMA, the Department of Defense, and the United Nations. On page 56, the document outlines the responsibilities of psychological operations officers within the camps, among which it states that a PSYOP officer develops and executes indoctrination programs to reduce or remove antagonistic attitudes and identifies political activists. On page 281, the document goes into more detail regarding the role of psychological operations within the camps, specifically in regards to pacifying the population and ensuring cooperation. On page 238, it gives the conditions for the use of deadly force in such camps. Among the justifications for lethal force, it includes to terminate an active escape attempt. That point right there should make it clear that these camps are not benevolent disaster relief type facilities. On page 244, the document calls for the use of snipers during riots to, quote, scan a crowd and identify agitators and riot leaders for apprehension and fire lethal rounds if warranted. On page 260, it shows the basic layout for a facility focusing on detainment. It is depicted with interrogation areas, tribunal areas, and mortuaries. Each detainment facility is designed to hold 4,000 prisoners, and they are depicted with multiple levels of barbed wire separating compartments within the facilities, with a double barbed wire fence enclosing them, and watched over by 24 guard towers. On page 261, the document depicts the layout for what they call civilian resettlement facilities, which are designed to house 8,000 people. Though it uses the word resettlement, the plans show multiple levels of barbed wire dividing the sections of the facility, with double barbed wire fencing on the outside, as well as 16 guard towers. On page 262, the layout for facilities designed for what they call non-compliant prisoners is shown. These camps are designed to hold up to 300 prisoners. They have 3 interrogation centers.
Pretty sure they have a lot of misinformation on purpose about this, since this has been on the internet, and you know, they got people, remember, they're going to have people
since 2009, and apparently they're still hiring.
out here trying to debunk, quote unquote, but you got to follow the money trail. Who's paying them? Who they're affiliated with? You just can't take information at face value. Who owns who? Who's getting paid to say what? Who's being ordered to pay to say what? Like a big ass prison facility to me. My thing is what they gonna do with the prisoners that they already got.
He's saying he's a military police, and he says, we've been sent footage before by military police and others, so I want this footage of them in briefings openly talking about gun confiscation.
Alex Jones isn't always,
in the manual.
you know,